The story kicks off with Andrew and Renee, a mother-son duo who are seriously struggling while being stuck in a quarantine lockdown. They're literally starving, and the vibe is tense from the get-go. Renee is pushing Andrew to find some food, but the situation looks pretty bleak inside their apartment. Renee is getting hangry and starts getting on Andrew's case about being lazy. The whole place is a mess of trash and unwashed laundry, adding to the grim atmosphere. It's clear their relationship is strained by the constant hunger and confinement, setting a pretty dark tone for what's to come. After searching everywhere, Renee finally finds a single can of tomatoes, which feels like hitting the jackpot. This can represents their last shred of hope for a meal. She knows she should talk to Andrew about it first, but the temptation to just cook it is real and pressing. Renee shows Andrew the can, but he's hesitant, thinking they should save it. This leads to a tense argument where Renee's desperation clashes with Andrew's attempt at being strategic. The conversation really highlights the power dynamic and the sheer stress they are both under from the prolonged starvation. A warden shows up outside, but he's no help at all, basically telling them he can't do anything about their lack of food. Renee gets into a heated argument with him, threatening legal action, but it goes nowhere. This interaction just confirms how completely isolated and abandoned they truly are. Feeling completely defeated after the talk with the warden, Renee decides to cook the can of tomatoes anyway. Andrew, seeing there is no other choice, joins her for what might be their last meal. The moment is somber, filled with the unspoken fear that this is the end of the line. Their neighbor, a weirdo cultist, starts blasting loud, obnoxious music, interrupting their meal. Renee is furious and decides she has had enough of his nonsense. She gets the key to the balcony, fully intending to go over there and give him a piece of her mind, or maybe something worse. Using a wooden plank from a dismantled bed, Andrew and Renee create a makeshift bridge to the neighbor's balcony. This resourceful but risky move shows their growing desperation. They're about to confront the source of the noise, and the situation feels like it's about to escalate in a major way. They find the neighbor in the middle of a bizarre demonic ritual. The scene is surreal and more than a little creepy, with weird symbols and chanting. Renee confronts him, and after a tense exchange where he claims to be protected by dark powers, they manage to intimidate him into turning the music down. Later, Renee overhears Andrew on the phone with his girlfriend, and it's clear their relationship is a source of tension. Renee seems almost jealous, warning Andrew not to get his hopes up and making cynical comments about young love. It's a moment that reveals a lot about her possessiveness. Renee gets a call from her ex-husband's new partner, Betty. The conversation is incredibly awkward and hostile. Renee makes it clear she wants nothing to do with Betty and only wants to speak to her ex, Douglas. The call ends with Renee feeling even more isolated and angry. Renee overexerts herself while cleaning and faints from exhaustion and hunger. Andrew finds her and is clearly worried, highlighting that despite their bickering, there is still a deep bond between them. The incident serves as a stark reminder of just how physically weak they have become. Renee gets another call, this time from her ex-husband, Douglas. The conversation is just as bad as the one with Betty, if not worse. He refuses to help, tells her to move on, and ultimately hangs up on her, leaving Renee completely enraged and feeling utterly betrayed by him once again. After the horrible phone call, Andrew finds Renee distraught. He comforts her, and they have a rare moment of genuine connection and vulnerability. He promises her that he will never leave her, a promise that holds a lot of weight given what they are going through and her history with his father. Renee and Andrew have a dark, philosophical chat about their situation, joking about the best way to die. Andrew's morbid humor about jumping off the balcony together is unsettling, but also reveals how they're coping. He even drops the title, mentioning they'd be buried in the coffin of Andrew and Renee. The cultist neighbor is at it again. This time, when they cross over, they witness a demon he summoned actually kill him. They're left in shock, staring at a dead body and a very real, very dangerous, supernatural situation. This is a massive turning point, escalating their problems from starvation to something else entirely. Staring at the neighbor's corpse, Renee and Andrew face a grim new reality. With no food and a dead body in the next apartment, the unthinkable becomes an option. After a tense discussion, they make the horrifying decision to butcher and eat the body to survive. This is their ultimate point of no return. The process of dismembering the body is gruesome and deeply disturbing for both of them, especially Andrew. Renee tries to keep things light with some dark humor, but the reality of what they are doing is sickening. It's a traumatic experience that will undoubtedly change them forever, bonding them in a horrific secret. The first meal made from their neighbor is served. The mood is heavy and filled with disgust and desperation. Andrew struggles to eat, but Renee, setting an example, forces herself to consume the human flesh. It is a powerful and disgusting scene that solidifies the dark path they have just embarked on. Renee has a vivid dream that is actually a flashback. It reveals a dark secret from the past. Andrew and his sister, Ashley, were involved in the death of a girl named Nina. Renee helped Andrew cover it up, burying the body and letting Ashley take the fall, sending her to an institution. Andrew, unable to sleep, comes to talk to Renee. He's haunted by what they've done, particularly the gruesome details of decapitating the body. Renee comforts him, trying to normalize their actions and reinforcing their us against the world mentality. Their bond deepens through this shared trauma. With a newfound food source, Andrew and Renee decide they need to escape the apartment. They know that staying means eventually getting caught for murder and cannibalism. The escape plan becomes their new focus as they realize they can't just wait for the quarantine to end anymore. They are officially fugitives. A warden shows up to check on the cultist's apartment, creating a panic. Renee tries to stall him by seducing him, a plan Andrew immediately hates. The situation escalates when Andrew, seeing no other way out, impulsively kills the warden with the meat cleaver, adding another body to their count. With the warden's keys, they finally unlock their front door. Before leaving, they have another intense conversation, confirming their pact to stick together and not snitch on each other. It's clear that their relationship is now the only thing they can rely on as they step out into the world as fugitives. They encounter another tenant, a girl who is perfectly happy in quarantine because she's getting free food. This stark contrast to their own experience is jarring. After a brief and weird interaction, Andrew and Renee realize she's a potential witness, complicating their escape even further. After dealing with the other tenant, Andrew kills her with a nail gun when she tries to attack him. This leads to a massive, explosive argument between him and Renee. They throw horrible accusations at each other, touching on everything from the murders to their father leaving and Andrew's girlfriend. The argument reaches a boiling point, with Andrew physically pushing Renee. It's a moment of intense emotional and physical violence. However, it paradoxically leads to a reconciliation, where they reaffirm their twisted love and dependence on each other, realizing they are all they have left. Using a rolled-up carpet nailed to the wall, they make their final escape from the second floor. Now on the ground, they have a moment to process their newfound freedom. They are officially on the run, with no real plan and a trail of bodies behind them. The future is completely uncertain. While out, they have a completely unexpected run-in with Julia, Andrew's girlfriend. She thought they were dead after hearing the apartment building burn down. It's an incredibly awkward reunion, and Julia, being super nice, offers them a place to stay at her sister's house, completely unaware of their situation. At the motel, Andrew is hoarding newspapers, trying to find any mention of them or the apartment fire. The paranoia is setting in. He and Renee have a conversation about money running out, reinforcing the grim reality of their life on the run. The motel itself is seedy and uncomfortable. Renee has a vision, thanks to the demon's trinket, of a hitman coming to their motel room to kill them. This confirms the trinket works and that they are being actively hunted. They quickly decide they need to leave the motel immediately, and the dream adds a new layer of danger to their situation. They decide their best option is to call Julia for a ride. To do this, Andrew goes to a strange cultist club that Renee knows about to use their phone. The whole experience is bizarre, with Andrew having to put on a robe to blend in with the weirdos who are trying to summon a demon. Julia picks them up and takes them to her sister's nice suburban house. The place is a world away from their squalid apartment and motel. The stark contrast makes their situation feel even more surreal. Julia is the perfect hostess, offering them coffee and making them feel at home while being clueless. While making dinner, Renee finds a can of potent rat poison under the sink. Recognizing its potential, she steals it, hiding it away for future use. It is a chilling moment that shows she is already thinking ahead, and her solutions are becoming increasingly dark and premeditated. After another tense argument, Andrew gives in and gives the gun to Renee. Soon after, Julia gives Renee the address to her ex-husband's new house. This sets up the next major plot point, as Renee now has the means and the location to confront the man who abandoned her. Renee has another dream, this time a flashback to her high school days when she was pregnant with Andrew. It shows her relationship with Douglas and her confrontation with her gossiping friends, including a younger Betty. The dream provides context for her deep-seated resentment and her history with the main players. Andrew wakes up from a nightmare and decides to check on his mom. They see the hitman's car outside Julia's house. The trinket didn't work this time, and they realize they were just lucky to have spotted him. This close call forces them to confront the hitman problem head-on. Andrew lures the hitman into the woods behind the house. After a tense chase through the trees, he manages to find and shoot him. Renee comes to find him, and instead of being relieved, she's angry at him for risking his life and acting on his own, showing her possessive nature. They decide to bury the hitman's body in the woods. Before doing so, Andrew has to break up with Julia. He decides to write her a farewell note filled with lies, a moment where he truly feels like his mother's son. With that loose end tied up, they proceed with burying their latest victim. With the hitman dealt with, they take his car and decide their next move is to rob Douglas and Betty. Andrew is hesitant, but Renee is determined, driven by a need for revenge and money. This plan sets them on a direct collision course with their past, promising more chaos. During the drive to his dad's house, Renee has a bizarre, surreal dream where she makes a deal with the demon to recharge her trinket. The dream is a strange puzzle involving collecting flowers and dealing with past memories. It solidifies her reliance on the supernatural to protect Andrew. They arrive at the house and break in. The place is nice, a painful reminder of the life Renee feels was stolen from her. They split up to search for valuables. Andrew finds forged death certificates for both of them, confirming their suspicions that Douglas and Betty were complicit in leaving them to die. Douglas and Betty come home unexpectedly, catching Andrew inside. He is forced to create a cover story on the spot, telling them that he and Renee split up. It's a tense situation, with Renee hiding outside, while Andrew tries to maintain his facade with the people they were just about to rob. Andrew manages to convince his dad and Betty to let him stay the night. He lets his mom know the plan is to wait until they're asleep to continue the robbery. The dynamic is incredibly tense, as Andrew has to play the part of the wronged son while secretly plotting with his mom. Andrew talks with his mom in the garden, and she reveals her deal with the demon. She wants to sacrifice Douglas and Betty to get 2 more visions from the trinket. Andrew is completely against the idea, creating a major conflict between them right as their plan is in motion. After getting drunk with his dad and Betty, Andrew passes out on the couch. He has a long, symbolic dream sequence where he confronts his past actions and his relationship with his sister and parents. The dream is a journey through his own psyche, forcing him to reckon with the person he has become. Renee wakes Andrew up, furious that he fell asleep and didn't let her in. Their reunion inside the house is tense. As they are about to resume their robbery, they are caught by Betty and Douglas, leading to an explosive confrontation with everyone in the same room. All the secrets are about to come out. Depending on the player's choices, Renee reveals that Betty is pregnant. This truth bomb changes the dynamic of the confrontation entirely. The revelation leads to Douglas admitting he wanted Renee out of his life, which solidifies Andrew's choice to side with his mother, culminating in them taking his dad and Betty hostage. In the garage, they tie up Douglas and Betty. The plan is to summon the demon and sacrifice them. While Andrew is dealing with Betty and her credit card limit, Renee has a final, bitter conversation with Douglas, where he confirms he never truly loved her and saw their relationship as a mistake. With the ritual set up, they summon the demon. It consumes the souls of Douglas, Betty, and their unborn child, giving Renee's trinket 3 charges. The demon also expresses a special interest in Andrew, telling Renee to bring him along for a future deal, which adds a layer of ominous foreshadowing. After discovering the soulless bodies are still technically alive, they decide to stage a double suicide. They concoct a plan to use the car's exhaust fumes and a forged suicide note. It's a complex and dark plan that showcases how adept they have become at covering their tracks. Before they leave, they decide to use one of the trinket's charges to see the future. This leads to a shared vision where Andrew and Renee become intimate. The dream is deeply unsettling and leads to a very awkward and conflicted conversation when they wake up, questioning the nature of their own relationship. After staging the suicide and leaving the house, they stop by a lake. Renee decides to throw her wedding rings into the water, symbolizing her final release from her past with Douglas. It's a cathartic moment for her, and she and Andrew share a moment of connection, solidifying their partnership. In an alternate ending path, the shared vision of intimacy is more mutual and romantic. When they wake up, their conversation is less about disgust and more about a confused but accepted shift in their relationship. The final scene at the lake is playful and flirty, ending with a much more hopeful and twistedly romantic tone. The journey concludes with multiple possible futures laid out, all of them dark but distinct. Whether their bond is one of codependent survival, resentful decay, or a twisted romance, Andrew and Renee drive off into the unknown, forever tied by the horrific acts they've committed together, ready for whatever comes next.